joy deep down in my heart. I'm waking up with your love from the start. I'm chasing the rainbow through the rain. I know it's gonna be a beautiful day.
Hello friends, and welcome to Season 8 of Coffee with Kim. Coffee stands for Conversations of Friends of Faith to Encourage and Equip. I'm Kim Crabill, inviting you, my friends, to join me for an incredible new season filled with people I think you're going to love. You know, the Bible tells us in Proverbs 11:14 that without wise leadership, a nation falls. As a ministry leader, God has put it on my heart that today's leaders are the wise who have the opportunity to speak truth into other leaders, especially into the next generation, so that we don't, as the scriptures say, fall into deceptions, distractions, and other truths that I know we would all agree are being distorted and redefined in today's world. So, I'm dedicating this entire season to those who lead, and I'm calling it Leading Ladies in Ministry. The life, loves, and lessons from women who lead. Each week of this new series, I'll be interviewing a woman who I can assure you lives out her life as the Bible says, as unto the Lord and in service to others. From each guest, you'll hear leadership tips, life lessons, and she'll even, I think, take us behind the scenes into her private life, which I can't wait to find out some of those things. So, when we come back from this short break, you'll meet our guest for today. And I just know that we're all going to want to hear what this lady has to say. So, friend, go grab your coffee. We'll be right back.
Tune in on Mondays for the Coffee with Kim radio show with special guests and inspiring stories that are sure to make an impact. Search for Coffee with Kim on uptomeradio.com or catch it on demand on kimcrabill.org.
Are you looking for a keynote speaker with a powerful message of hope? Consider inviting Kim Crabill. Her heart is to partner with communities to bring her transformational journey of burdens to blessings to your area.
Hello everyone, and welcome back to Coffee. I cannot tell you how excited I am for this show because I have someone that you're going to love. She is spunky, she is fun, she is energetic, and she is one wise woman who loves Jesus. So without any other words, Kathy Hood is in the house. Hey, friend.
How are you?
I'm so good. It's so good to see you.
Thank you. It is so awesome to see you as well. Thank you so much for inviting me, Kim.
Oh, you know I love you, and I just can't wait. You know, we both have a heart to pour leadership into other people, and so I just thank you for doing that, and we're going to get started right now. How about that?
I'm ready.
Okay.
I'm ready.
Well, let's start out with the ways that you lead, the ministries that you're involved in.
Well, let's see.
I know.
So, you know, the one thing is I did not grow up in church or in ministry. And so where I am right now is just I help with our women's fellowship in my church. And so just to even know that a lot of these things even existed, you know, inside of ministry in ways that we can serve. I've always mentored young girls, but now, you know, I'm mentoring a lot of older, well, you know, I don't know what they would call the 30s and up, you know, 30s and 40s.
Yes.
But also what is so interesting is now that I am ministering a lot with women that are 40 and above, definitely in their 50s. And so just doing a lot of that, helping them to discover their gifts, and just working closely with my pastor and his wife, and just different things. And so, but a lot of times, a lot of things that I do are outside of the church. You know what I'm saying? So that's what's important.
And I think that's one of the things that, let's get back to that, because I feel like that people miss so many opportunities because somehow it's embedded in our mind that has to be in church. I'll tell you, Kathy, one time I remember when I was back teaching Sunday school, which I love, I can remember on my way to church, and I can remember stopping in the store to grab something, and someone wanted to talk to me, and of course, in my mind I was thinking, hey, wait a minute, I've got to get to church. I've got to minister.
Right.
So I jump in my car, and as I'm on my way to church, I feel like God was going, that was where I'd really called you. That was your place
was
of
church
ministry.
right there, yeah.
Yes. And so that's important for us, and I've never forgotten that.
Mm-hmm.
And those are opportunities that, so thanks for bringing that up. That's an important part of what we can talk about today. But first, let's go in reverse.
Okay.
Because I think that, and I know you feel the same way, that to really be a leader for Jesus, you have to know him. So how
Absolutely.
did you come to know Jesus?
So, look, as I mentioned, I did not grow up in the church. And so, strangely, one day, Kim, I was just riding down the highway. And all of a sudden, I just began to feel a void, like I was missing something. I'm like, but I didn't have any idea what it was, and I just burst into tears, right? And then I spoke with a friend and just really realizing and just playing that whole scenario back with her and just understanding. It was just really, that was the time when I first had my first encounter with Jesus.
And he was calling you.
Yes.
He was wooing you unto himself.
Unto himself. Wow. It was amazing, and never had experienced anything like that before. So it was pretty cool. Now that when you look back on it, then it was a little like, what is going on?
Yes.
People probably riding by saying, what is wrong with this lady?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kathy, it makes me think about how many people are in their cars like right now with that same feeling of hopelessness, and they don't know what they're missing. And so thankful you had a friend, to be able to share that with you. That's
absolutely
incredible. Another reason why we must go and talk about that concept of what you were talking about, that so much of our ministry is outside the church to these women on the ball field, wherever we meet them. So
absolutely.
Yeah, so when you, in this process, tell us, how did you feel God was calling you into ministry?
I really didn't know. So when I finally joined my first church, I became a member of a church for the very first time. It was many, many years ago. And I didn't know what to do. I just would go to church and enjoy. And so finally, I just asked the question, what is it that you would have me to do in ministry? And so, a lot of people don't think that you can really hear from God. People think you like, like a little woohoo, but we know better. Absolutely. So I asked, and actually, the word just came dance, and so I began to dance, and I had a dance ministry. So at my first church home.
How about that?
And then I actually built that ministry, and I started off with adult women, and then they asked me to take over for the young girls, and it's so amazing because that's when you know that God really called you to it, because people thought I had a dance school. I didn't have a dance school, and a lot of the things that we did was just straight from God.
I love that. What? I didn't know that about you. I love that. Okay, so let me ask you this. Thinking about speaking into future leaders that are listening, I think that at some point, and maybe many times in leaders' lives, you get to the point to where it becomes kind of overwhelming, really, really hard. Something happens, or whatever the exteriors are that are coming at you. Have you had one of those moments that you just thought, oh, this is too much, I want to give up? And if you did, how did you overcome it?
Well, I wouldn't say necessarily, yeah. Well, maybe so. Maybe that point of, I'm just really tired. Let me just back up a little bit. Let me just relax. But the minute I think that and I take, just a few moments, it doesn't last long, because of the way that I am gifted. That's another reason. The way that I am gifted is just not like me not to be involved and to, help people and doing the things that I love, which is empowering people.
So what do you say to yourself? Because you say it seems like you don't allow yourself to spiral down too far before you catch yourself and jump back up. What are some of the things that you say to yourself when you feel that coming on?
Well, you know what? I just asked the question. I'm like, okay, so I just do a playback of everything that's going on. And then what I end up doing is just asking God for directions. Because a lot of times that we try to do everything in our own strength.
Yes.
You know, and we can't do that all the time. I mean, I know He empowers us or give us the power and authority to do the things that we have been designed to do. And a lot of times, Kim, a lot of people are operating outside of their design. You know, and so when you're trying to do some things that you really weren't called to do, it makes it even harder. You know, so just because we know how to do it doesn't necessarily mean that that's what we should be doing. And so when I learned to line up with my gifts, you know, and just do the things that I know that I am gifted to do, it's a piece of cake.
Let's talk about that. Lining up with your gifts. How do you do that?
So first, you have to discover them. You know, a lot of people have taken assessments and taken all different types of tests and everything, and so they probably can get overwhelmed and confused, right?
Yes.
And but the ones that I do that I teach,
you teach this, right?
I do.
Yes.
I do.
Okay.
And the minute I discovered my gifts and embraced them, it changed my whole world. It changed everything. And when I tell you, when you learn what your gifts are and you embrace and accept them, because a lot of people will reject their own gifts, you know, because they don't think it's anything important. They don't think that they can be successful in it. They don't think they can get paid for it or whatever. And then, but, you know, I'm there to tell you, yes, you can. You can be very successful. And that's what I do.
And it takes away excuses, right? It's like, oh, I don't have excuses anymore. But then it should also give you the authority or to be able to say no. That's really
absolutely
not my gifting, right?
That's right. That's
to help
lane.
Help you stay. Yes, help you stay in your lane. Oh, I love that.
I know. I absolutely, you know, have learned to operate in that space.
In your gifts,
right?
In your gifting, how God is.
And I tell them that's not my lane.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes.
You know, I can do it, and I can maybe tell you how to get it done, but that's not my lane.
I love that, and it's so important. I mean, we have to empower ourselves. We have to know how God has gifted us. Let me ask you a question. Do you ever find those gifts changing?
You do. They can.
Okay.
And you know why? It's because of the fact that, so a lot of times when they first take the gifts assessment, is about what they think, who they think that they are, right? And so I encourage them to continue to let's you know, pull the layers back,
right?
And something else may wake up on the inside in the process. So most likely all three, or maybe your top two, because what we find are the top three, and you may be operating in your top two. And that third gift may be the one that change out a little bit, because now that you start operating and you understand, you are aware of your giftings, then those other gifts, you know, may swap places, because we awaken something. That awakening is something else, Kim.
I love the way you just say that. The awakening. Yep. And you know what? Doesn't that just scare the enemy to death, to think that you're going to awaken
Oh my God.
you really are?
Kim?
Yes. Yes. You want to talk about that for a minute?
Like that awakening, for real. You hit the nail on the head.
Yes.
It does makes the enemy mad when we, you know, tap into that awakening.
Yes.
You know, because then at that point we understand in this area of our lives, you can't touch us. You know, you can't touch me. And then when we start applying that in other areas, that same principle of those awakenings, it changes everything. It's a game changer.
You know, I like to say, you know, so many times we're so intimidated by the enemy, and when we get grounded in who we are, we become the intimidator.
Exactly.
Because we
love it.
Yes, we're anchored in Christ, and He's anchored in us, and that's what we really want to do. That's why we're doing these leadership trainings, because once you're anchored in your calling and who you know you are, you become that unshakable, unmovable, and you do like what you said. You may start to spiral down, but you can catch yourself, you know, and don't we want every woman to know that?
Absolutely. I think that is one of my callings.
Yes.
For real.
Mine too. Because I lived that other life to where I didn't know. I felt like I'd been stripped of my power. I felt like I'd been stripped of my calling. And boy, the enemy is evil, isn't he?
He's so...
Yes.
I wanted to just say he's so dumb. You know.
But we fall for it.
Yeah.
You know, but...
Because it's always that thin line between the truth and the lie when you're dealing with the enemy, right?
Because he'll take mostly the truth.
Yes.
Like he did.
Exactly.
And just just a little bit.
Tweak it just a little bit.
Yeah.
You know, and so, but when you learn, and a lot of people are gifted to see that, to see it coming. You know, when it's said, when it's happening, you know, when they're looking at it. So, yeah.
Yeah. Oh,
It's
yeah.
good stuff.
You're taking us to some good stuff here. So let me ask you, who in the Bible would you say that you, or the leadership style kind of is similar to?
I was like, should I pick a male or a female?
Just
You
pick
know,
whoever you
I was
want
like,
to.
I don't know. But what I looked at when I that was an interesting question, and so I was like, So, but I chose Deborah.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, because she was a judge,
Yes.
and not only that, she was a prophet.
Yes.
And so, you know, a lot of us are gifted as a perceiver. That's one of the gifts, and the perceivers have the ability to see things that other people can't see, to hear things that other people can't hear. And so, but Deborah was also, you know, that person that didn't deal with any negativity. That's me. It gives me the hives, okay? I'm like, do not come to me with a whole lot of negativity. Now, we could talk about what the problem is, but let's get into the solution, right? So I'm a problem solver.
Yes.
And so yeah, with her, yeah.
So you're not a drama mama.
No. Now, you know, it's so funny that you would say that, because, you know, a lot of people that come with drama, and when I'm telling them, let's get away from all that, let's just get down to the real nitty-gritty.
Yes.
And let's, you know, do the things that we need to do to fix this, or to get on track, or to make this thing better, you know. So it's good.
Yeah, it is. It is, I think, in our world, because of the confusion and because of not knowing who we are, I think that's what causes the drama. I feel like it does it.
It does, because guess why? A lot of times we are watching other people. We're trying to be like other people. We're trying to sound and walk like other people. And, you know, the real you is going to eventually show up.
Yes.
And so when you're warring against yourself,
yes,
you know, that's a crazy place to be. And that's why there's a lot of turmoil and everything. So when you become aware of who you are and that your gifts are important, everybody have gifts, and God made you that way. It's part of your DNA. And so let's just take it, you know, accept it, walk in it, and just their lives will be so much better. They're doing it anyway.
Yeah, and Kathy, that's where so many addictions come from. And, you know, it's like just being so unhappy with yourself, knowing there's more,
Absolutely.
and not being able to find it. And I speak from experience, just not knowing. That's where I fell into, you know, the eating disorders and things. It's like I looked at everyone around me. It's like, oh, I want, if I can be that size, if I could wear those shoes, if I could do this. It was like you know, the enemy is pointing out the opposite of what God would point out.
Absolutely.
And once you begin to figure all that out, gosh, the sense of empowering and the sense of humility that comes in, right?
Exactly. So, you know, when they do discover their gifts and accept it, and understand them, that's what makes the difference, not just to know and then to operate in them. The byproduct of that is just joy. You know, they're going to love what they do. I'm not going to say that people don't, you know, we do get tired. Sometimes we know we need to rest, but, you know, but you're going to be joyful about the things that you are doing, even, you know, so you're going to be feeling great every morning when you get up, instead of, you know, good God, this morning. You can be like, good morning, God. You know, so everybody should want to wake up that way. I know I do.
Yes, you wake up and say, today is the day the Lord has made. I will rejoice.
Right. I know my people, my friends, I know they're like, she is just always so happy. And one person asked me, how can you do that? I said, because I can.
Oh, yes. Because Jesus died. So
that's right, so that we could.
Yes.
So it's ours.
I want to go back to the spiritual gifts again, and because you were an expert at this. Why is it so important to know that, number one? And then how can people reach out to you to find out? Do you still do these tests? How do you do that?
I do. So why is it important?
Yes, why is it important?
It'll help you in your marriage. It definitely when I say 100 times over, helped me in my marriage.
Because you have a story.
I have a story with that.
Can you tell that quickly?
I sure can.
Okay.
So now, me and my husband, we were married. No, we dated for 10 years because I was like, nope, never again doing that. I had been married before, so nope, never doing that again. But we did. We were married for 12 years. And in that time, it was the most horrible time of my life, you know, during those 12 years of marriage. And then we divorced for 5, but we remarried, and we've been married for 10 years this year. And I credit it, of course, to God, but definitely because of the gifts. So when I learned his gifts and I began to understand how he was wired, and then I understood when you were talking about the things that we deal with as people growing up, a lot of things that they dealt with or he dealt with in his childhood affected who he is as an adult. You know, and then certain gifts like the one which is compassion is the one that people mainly take advantage of, right? And so because they have so much ability to love, and people take advantage of that. And so a lot of people get taken advantage of. Even that's why they turn to drug addictions, promiscuity, and just different things like that. And so, and that's one of the things that we dealt with as far as he was concerned. But not until I discovered his gifts did it make a difference, right? And but then for us to get back together, he had to understand my gifts, right? Because that was a very serious situation that happened, and in that whole process, because he was into he had a drug addiction, and so in that place of him, all this just playing out, he almost took my life. And so, but when I knew that I know him as a person, that wasn't him. And immediately, I mean, just looking at and playing that scene over in my head, is just looking at him, he did not look like himself. And so I just knew the enemy wants to take out God's people.
Kill, steal, and
destroy. And but he didn't succeed.
I love that story. I love, and I love that you attribute it to coming back to really being able to understand one another, to know your gifts, to know how we're made. And that is a key primary principle in leadership. You have to know yourself, or you will be eaten alive.
Oh my God!
Right?
Right, and that's why so many people are being eaten alive.
Yes.
You know, and they creating these prisons and you know, for themselves, all because of them not understanding who they are. And even when I ran across some teenagers getting ready to graduate high school, you know, and so she was like, this is going to absolutely change my life because I don't know what I want to do. I don't know who I am.
How do people reach out to you to find out about this?
I do have a website, Kathy Hood Empowers, and .com, and so they can just go there and they can schedule an appointment, you know, a discovery call, or they can go ahead on and take the assessment. And then with that, I'll follow up and we will, you know, do a one-on-one to discuss what they just discovered.
Great, that's amazing. Okay, well, friends, I know we could go on, and I know, gosh, I wish we had 3 hours, but we don't. I can hear our producer going, time. So we're going to take a quick break, but when we get back, we are going to, I have 2 questions for you.
Okay.
One, I'm going to ask you what you do in all this leisure time that you don't have.
Right.
And then I'm going to ask one more question that only Kathy Hood could answer.
Okay.
So friends, hang with us, freshen your coffee. We'll be right back.
Burdens to blessings. Cherished. Infinitely more. Perfectly imperfect. These are just some of the many books, DVDs, and teaching series available on kimcrabill.org. You can find all of her merchandise at kimcrabill.org/shop.
Well, welcome back, friends. Didn't I tell you you were going to love my friend Kathy Hood? She's the best. I just love you dearly. And just the wisdom that was pouring out of you. I just want to thank you for stopping by today.
Oh, my pleasure. My absolute pleasure.
Well, I just love it. But now we have 2 questions we have to get to. One is, I think it's so important that people see that women, we as leaders are women too, and there are other things outside of being on the platform or speaking or teaching that we're involved in. So, Kathy Hood, in a time when you have nothing to do, if we could peer into your life, what would we see you doing?
Wow. And I have to make myself take those moments.
Yes.
But the one thing that I absolutely love when I'm doing nothing is to do nothing. If I'm sitting there, I can sit on a balcony, just, I don't care what I'm looking at, as long as it's nice, that the weather is perfect, and just curl up in a lounger on a balcony of a nice facility though.
Give me a yacht on the water.
Just give me a nice, a nice view is good though.
I like that though. When I want to do nothing, I do nothing.
I do nothing.
I
Eat maybe,
love that. I just think it's good that people, are able to peek behind your life and see, like, she needs that downtime, because sometimes we forget, that we all need that. So thank you for sharing that. And now I want to ask the question that only you can answer. Kathy, when you think about future leaders and what they're struggling with all that Facebook is saying and other people are saying, and the enemy's pouring in them, and all the ways that they're being bombarded, what would be your word to encourage them, or what would be your leadership tips to them?
So, the very first thing, you already know I'm going to say discover your gifts. And when you do that, any leisure time, any business time, any, bestie time, all of that is all going to come together because of the fact that once you do that, Kim, you're going to find out exactly what it is that you should be doing.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And then you will begin to understand and recognize that the things that you are doing, are things, it's good for you. Or if it's something that you shouldn't be doing. As a leader, because of the fact that when we are leading, we're trying to come up that corporate ladder or whatever, or maybe my entrepreneurs or whatever, when you find out why you love the things that you love to do, why you dislike the things that you dislike, what are the things in your giftings that causes you to be able to do certain things. And so it really just helps you to hone in on just the different things of who you are. Because again, if God decided what color our hair is going to be, our skin, our eyes, why wouldn't he fill us with the things, the gifts and the characteristics of how to be just how he designed us to be. So I love to help people to figure out their divine design. And that's going to help them to really be that great leader.
I love that. I love that. Get to know yourself. Know yourself
Period.
Inside out. Yes. Love it. Thank you so much for just pouring out. Let's do this again sometime.
Please.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
All right.
I know we had to make our date on Facebook, right?
I know. We'll do it again.
That's right.
Oh, friends, thank you too for joining us. I just know that you've just been soaking in the knowledge of my friend Kathy. You've got the website. Contact her. Don't go another day without knowing how you're gifted and how God has prepared you for the very personal calling that he has on your life, and he has. So thank you so much for joining us for coffee, and I hope to see you next time. Bye, everybody.
Deep down in my heart.